I didn't know about that enormous crater that's in Antarctica.
Joe Rogan recently revealed the shocking truth about Antarctica. Antarctica is one of the most mysterious regions on the planet, along with being the coldest place on Earth and the fifth largest continent. Despite being officially discovered in 1820, it is fascinating that it appears on a map created in the 1500s, which we know was based on older source maps.
Now, what the fuck is it doing on a map drawn in the 1500s when nobody knew it existed in the 1500s? To me, the obvious answer is we are dealing with the fingerprints of a lost civilization.
Nobody in the 1500s was supposed to be aware of its existence, but the fact is that they were. This prompts further investigation into how ancient societies may have known about this frozen continent. Additionally, what are some of the most surprising and astonishing facts about Antarctica? These topics will be explored in this exciting episode. Welcome. The continent of Antarctica is sparsely populated, with fewer than 10,000 inhabitants despite its vast landmass of 13.66 million square kilometers. As one of the most uninhabited regions in the world, Antarctica has prompted significant exploration efforts, leading many to seek to uncover its profound mysteries. Joe Rogan, widely regarded as one of the most popular podcasters globally, is among those who have engaged with this subject. Over the years, his podcast has featured numerous scientists and explorers who have shared previously unknown insights about this remote area. Joe Rogan's podcast has been active for over a decade, during which he and his guests have presented a diverse array of compelling theories and discussions. It is therefore uncommon for Joe Rogan to be left completely astonished. However, in a 2022 episode of his podcast, he encountered a startling revelation about Antarctica that left him visibly taken aback. In August, Joe Rogan hosted fellow podcaster and comedian Sam Tripoli. During their conversation, Sam discussed the events surrounding Operation High Jump. This military operation, which occurred in Antarctica in the mid-20th century, was purportedly associated with President Harry Truman, the Nazis, and even extraterrestrial beings. Operation High Jump, officially known as the United States Navy Antarctic Developments Program, indeed took place. The operation was conducted from 1946 to 1947 and was led by Rear Admiral Richard E. Byrd. On February 1, 1947, the expedition, originally scheduled for 8 months, arrived in Antarctica in the vicinity of Queen Maud Land. Although Rear Admiral Byrd's expedition was officially characterized as strictly scientific, it was funded by the U.S. Navy. The mission was supported by the aircraft carrier Casablanca, 25 planes, and 7 helicopters, as well as a submarine, an icebreaker, and 12 tankers, totaling approximately 4,800 personnel. At the time, the official narrative indicated that the primary objectives of the expedition were to locate coal and other resources, train military personnel in extreme cold conditions, and assess the feasibility of establishing military bases in Antarctica. However, the necessity for 32 planes, 13 ships, and nearly 5,000 personnel raises questions, particularly given that many individuals involved in the operation reportedly suffered adverse consequences afterward. President Truman and the U.S. government exhibited a keen interest in Antarctica, especially as the region remained largely unexplored. They aimed to assert American sovereignty over the territory. Sam informed Joe that, according to journals authored by Admiral Byrd, the Navy commander allegedly made contact with Nazi UFOs. Furthermore, it has been suggested that the true purpose of the mission was to locate and retrieve missing Nazi leaders believed to be hiding in Antarctica. The operation involved extensive aerial photography, the establishment of a polar station, and the transmission of numerous unusual messages. Reports indicated that they were under attack and experiencing significant losses. The identity of the adversary faced by Rear Admiral Byrd remains unclear, but on March 3, 1947, all activities were abruptly halted, and the expedition returned to the United States in haste. The presence of Nazis in Antarctica raises further questions. In January 1939, a German expedition reached the continent, claiming a portion of its land, which they named New Swabia. This area has since become the subject of numerous legends. There are rumors suggesting that a secret base was established there, potentially serving as Adolf Hitler's last refuge. Some have even posited that the Germans discovered an extensive network of ice caves in Antarctica, where they constructed a significant underground city. Sam asserted that the Nazis negotiated an agreement with extraterrestrial beings to utilize their advanced technology during World War II. The reasons for the non-utilization of this technology in the conflict and the continued presence of the aliens in Antarctica after the war remain unclear. According to Sam, the leaders of Operation High Jump eventually returned to President Truman, indicating that they had to reach an accord with the extraterrestrials. Allegedly, the president acquiesced, permitting the aliens to conduct experiments on humans, which were said to occur in various national parks and forests. This intriguing narrative connects to the phenomenon known as Missing 411, a series of unresolved cases involving individuals who have mysteriously disappeared in national parks across the United States. The Missing 411 cases document sudden vanishings on public lands, with many of the missing individuals exhibiting several shared characteristics. While much of Sam's account may appear to align with conspiracy theories, it raises significant questions regarding the true nature of activities in Antarctica and the military exercises conducted in that region. One of the primary reasons for the limited population of Antarctica is, perhaps unsurprisingly, its extreme cold. The continent's frigid climate is well documented, yet many individuals often underestimate the severity of the temperatures experienced there. Over the years, this remote and picturesque region has drawn numerous adventurers, whether for activities such as digging, running, skiing, or hiking. However, survival in such an environment necessitates adherence to a strict code of conduct and continual adjustments to one's attire to accommodate the harsh weather conditions. In a notable interview, Joe Rogan spoke with Colin O'Brady, a distinguished adventurer and endurance athlete. Colin garnered attention for achieving the first solo, unsupported, human-powered crossing of Antarctica's landmass in 2018. During the discussion, Colin detailed his journey and the precautions he undertook to withstand the extreme climate. It is noteworthy that Colin emphasized the dangers associated with sweating in Antarctica. According to the official tourism website for the continent, there exists a serious warning regarding sweating, particularly during the winter months. Individuals with experience in polar environments often assert, "If you sweat, you die." This is due to the fact that sweating can saturate clothing with moisture, which may subsequently freeze on the outer layer. As one begins to warm up, these frozen layers can thaw, leading to potentially hazardous outcomes. This presents a significant challenge for individuals like Colin, who were required to engage in substantial physical exertion. While some may have a preference for or aversion to cold climates, the prospect of surviving in an environment where sweating poses a life-threatening risk is far from appealing. Should you consider a visit to Antarctica, it is imperative to manage perspiration effectively. At this juncture, it is evident that traversing Antarctica is far from straightforward. Given the extreme cold and the risk of frostbite, the continent does not present itself as the most hospitable destination. The matter at hand is that even for those wishing to visit Antarctica, there are significant constraints on such endeavors. This is primarily due to the Antarctic Treaty System, established in 1959 through an agreement among 12 nations: Argentina, Australia, Belgium, Chile, France, Japan, New Zealand, Norway, South Africa, the United Kingdom, the United States, and the former USSR. The Antarctic Treaty fundamentally asserts that the continent is not the sovereign territory of any single nation. Furthermore, all signatory countries commit to respecting each other's rights on the continent, utilizing it solely for research purposes and limited tourism. The overarching objective of the treaty is to safeguard the environment and ensure that no anthropogenic activities, particularly industrialization and military conflict, jeopardize the continent's biodiversity. Under the Antarctic Treaty, all human activities in Antarctica must be meticulously planned and regulated. This encompasses tourism, exploration, and scientific research, all of which must adhere to the treaty's stipulations. While the treaty does not prohibit the presence of tourists or military personnel in Antarctica, individuals seeking to access the continent are required to obtain a permit from a party to the treaty. Exploration of Antarctica's subglacial lakes and the surrounding ocean has progressed significantly over recent decades. In the 1970s, researchers made a substantial discovery that highlighted the extent of the region's previously untapped resources. They identified a distinct ecosystem thriving in the Antarctic waters. To date, approximately 400 subglacial lakes have been identified beneath the Antarctic ice sheet. These lakes, situated beneath 3 kilometers of ice, are believed to have formed during Antarctica's separation from the supercontinent Gondwana, which fragmented during the Jurassic period. Due to the pressure exerted by the overlying ice, these lakes have managed to persist in a liquid state over millions of years, rather than freezing into solid ice. Lake Vostok, discovered in the 1990s, is the largest subglacial lake identified in the region, located 2.5 kilometers beneath the ice surface. This lake, with a temperature recorded at -3 degrees Celsius, has remained ice-covered for approximately 20 million years. Investigations have revealed that such lakes harbor existing ecosystems of microorganisms. Despite having been shielded from light for millions of years, these microorganisms continue to thrive, utilizing gases such as methane and ammonium for energy production. The world's oldest pyramid, an exploration of ancient civilizations. When discussing pyramids, one typically envisions the iconic structures of Egypt. The pyramids of Giza, in particular, are renowned for their remarkable ingenuity and architectural creativity. However, recent findings suggest the possibility that the oldest pyramids in the world may not be located in Egypt. In 2016, satellite imagery of the Antarctic region revealed an unusual formation that appeared to emerge from beneath the ice. It became evident that the melting ice had exposed what scientists believe to be the apex of a man-made pyramid, potentially constructed hundreds of thousands of years ago. The existence of such structures in Antarctica lends credence to the hypothesis that humans may have inhabited this region long before recorded history. Some researchers propose that these pyramids could indicate the presence of an ancient civilization that thrived in this harsh environment. Nonetheless, the inaccessibility of the area poses significant challenges in gathering substantial evidence to support these claims. This raises intriguing questions about the potential for a civilization to have existed in a region characterized by extreme cold and inhospitable conditions. Archaeological artifacts dating back thousands of years have been unearthed, prompting some scholars to speculate about the existence of an ancient culture that predated modern humans. In 2017, a team of geologists from the Alfred Wegener Institute for Polar and Marine Research in Germany conducted a study in Antarctica, collecting core samples from the continent's frozen seafloor. Their objective was to reconstruct the climatic conditions of Antarctica in earlier epochs, and their findings were noteworthy. The geological team posits that while Antarctica's current climate may not support substantial life, it has not always been inhospitable. The continent has endured meteorite impacts, which are among the most significant contributors to extinction events in the known universe. Historical precedents, such as the extinction of the dinosaurs, illustrate the catastrophic effects of meteorite collisions. It is believed that a particularly significant impact occurred in Antarctica, potentially predating the age of the dinosaurs and possibly causing even greater devastation. Recent discussions on this subject have been featured on the podcast of Joe Rogan, where he hosted independent researcher Jimmy Corsetti and author Ben Kerwick. They engaged in an extensive dialogue regarding ancient human civilizations and their resilience in the face of extinction-level events. During the conversation, Rogan referenced a report about a meteorite crater discovered in 2006 as part of a joint mission by NASA and the German Aerospace Center. The mission aimed to investigate irregularities in the Earth's gravitational field, which would provide insights into the distribution of mass across the planet and its changes over time. Scientists have hypothesized that the meteorite responsible for the formation of the massive crater in Antarctica may have triggered a global extinction event. This hypothesis is grounded in the notion that the impact released an immense volume of dust into the atmosphere, rendering the planet hostile to life. In this scenario, prolonged darkness and acidic rainfall would have created an uninhabitable environment. Remarkably, it is believed that a few resilient primordial shellfish survived this catastrophic event. These organisms are thought to have evolved into the ancestors of the dinosaurs, which subsequently dominated the planet for approximately 200 million years until another meteorite impact led to their extinction. Antarctica is a highly isolated region, and gaining access to the continent can be challenging without a clearly defined objective. Even for those who successfully enter Antarctica, exploration is limited to a small segment of the landmass, where tourists, hikers, and other visitors are permitted to engage in activities and appreciate the scenery. Significant portions of the continent remain restricted, accessible solely to researchers and military personnel. These areas can be likened to the Area 51 of Antarctica, shrouded in secrecy and speculation about potential clandestine operations or experiments. Reports indicate that individuals attempting to infiltrate these restricted zones have been apprehended and promptly escorted away by security personnel. Following such incidents, there have been no accounts from those individuals, leading to widespread belief that they were never seen or heard from again. Officially, access to these areas is prohibited to protect biodiversity and safeguard potentially endangered species residing there. However, it is plausible that other, less transparent activities may be occurring in these regions, raising questions about the true nature of the operations taking place. Another intriguing phenomenon associated with remote exploration is known as the third man factor. While this experience may be unfamiliar to those who are not explorers or adventurers, it is described by many who have journeyed into isolated environments like Antarctica as a profound and credible sensation. The third man factor refers to the compelling feeling of an additional presence, particularly during times of significant distress or peril. Individuals often report a sensation akin to having someone accompany or guide them, despite being alone. Due to Antarctica's unique cycles of light and darkness, numerous visitors have reported experiencing this phenomenon. Some have even claimed to encounter hallucinations or perceive shadows without discernible sources while navigating the region's vast expanse. A notable instance of this phenomenon occurred in the early 1900s during Sir Ernest Shackleton's expedition to Antarctica. Shackleton, a prominent British explorer, led an ambitious expedition from August 1914 to January 1917, with the objective of being the first to traverse the Antarctic continent by land. According to accounts by Ernest Shackleton, he and his two companions endeavored to traverse by boat to South Georgia Island. During their journey, they made the decision to halt and seek sustenance and shelter. Remarkably, the companions reported sensing the presence of a fourth individual accompanying them. They trekked for 36 hours across mountainous terrain and glaciers, constantly feeling as though there were 4 members in their party. This phenomenon has since been reported by numerous others who have found themselves lost or stranded while exploring Antarctica, suggesting a possible connection to the desperation inherent in such situations, or perhaps indicating a unique aspect of the Antarctic environment itself. In addition, it is pertinent to discuss the blood falls, regarded as one of the most intriguing discoveries in Antarctica in recent years. Situated in the McMurdo Dry Valleys, the Blood Falls is a 5-story waterfall that cascades from a glacier into a lake. Its striking color contrasts vividly with the surrounding white snow and glaciers, leading to its nomenclature, which reflects its resemblance to flowing blood. The Blood Falls were initially discovered in 1911 by Thomas Griffith Taylor, a geologist who had conducted several expeditions to Antarctica. In recognition of his contributions, the glacier from which the waterfall originates was subsequently named after him. For an extended period, scientists were uncertain regarding the cause of the waterfall's distinctive coloration. Upon its discovery, Taylor postulated that the discoloration was due to the presence of algae. However, subsequent research revealed that the Blood Falls originated from a highly saline lake that had been isolated from the atmosphere due to ice formation. This isolation resulted in an elevated salt concentration in the water, preventing it from freezing even under the most severe weather conditions. Furthermore, the water possesses a high concentration of iron, which imparts the characteristic blood-red hue. The absence of oxygen and sunlight in the water contributes to its even darker appearance. Recent reports suggest that numerous individuals have made UFO sightings in Antarctica. In October 2020, a researcher analyzing satellite imagery of the continent encountered a notable discovery. This individual subsequently shared the findings with author Brad Olson, who was equally astonished to observe a metallic object partially encased in ice, seemingly protruding from the land surface. The object bore a striking resemblance to a spacecraft of extraterrestrial origin. Olson posits that this craft may have been abandoned by an alien civilization thousands of years ago, subsequently obscured by the considerable ice accumulation in the region. However, one may question why an extraterrestrial civilization would select Antarctica as a site for visitation. Experts suggest that the inhospitable nature of Antarctica for humans does not preclude the possibility of other life forms thriving in such an environment. It is conceivable that an alien race seeking to explore Earth might find Antarctica to be a more suitable habitat than other regions. While it is well known that Antarctica is characterized by its extensive ice cover, there is a particularly intriguing aspect of the ice in this region. Some of it is capable of producing sound. Researchers investigating the ice shelves of Antarctica were pleasantly surprised to discover a glacier that emits melodic sounds. This phenomenon, identified as the Ross Ice Shelf, exhibits a unique ability to produce sound, akin to singing ice. The Ross Ice Shelf is the largest of its kind in Antarctica, with an area comparable to that of France. When winds traverse its surface and interact with its undulating features, the resulting vibrations generate continuous seismic tones. Consequently, the ice shelf is effectively singing at all times, although these sounds are not audible to the human ear. Scientists have employed seismic sensors to detect and analyze these sounds. Notably, the characteristics of the sound appear to vary with changing weather conditions. Researchers now utilize these auditory phenomena, along with their fluctuations, to assess the stability of the ice shelf and its susceptibility to climatic influences. Giant hole in ice sheet. In 2017, a periodic hole in Antarctica's sea ice, dubbed the Ma-Rise Polyna, reappeared after 4 decades of dormancy. This enormous opening, or polyna, stretched across an area larger than the state of Maryland while it was at its peak size. The polyna constituted the second largest ice-free gap in Antarctica's oceans since accurate satellite records began in the 1970s. This recurring phenomenon forms as a result of warm, nutrient-rich deep water welling up and melting surface sea ice. However, the polyna's intermittent nature remains puzzling to scientists. After appearing annually from 1974 to 1976, it abruptly vanished for decades. Experts speculate that human-caused impacts on the Southern Ocean may be influencing the polyna's cycles. Even more perplexing, the latest polyna opening wasn't nearly as sizable as in the 1970s, despite recent climate shifts. Understanding what triggers and sustains these fleeting bursts of open water holds significance for Antarctica's marine ecosystems. Pollinists allow sunlight and air to penetrate, fueling phytoplankton blooms that propagate up the food chain. Unlocking the pollina's secrets will yield insights into Antarctica's future climate shifts and their impacts on ocean life. The Lost Wallet. In a remarkable story spanning over half a century, a wallet lost in Antarctica in the 1960s was miraculously returned to its owner in 2021. The wallet belonged to Paul Grisham, a former Navy meteorologist who was stationed at McMurdo Station in Antarctica in the late 1960s. During Grisham's time on the icy continent, from 1967 to 1968, he accidentally left his wallet behind at the science station. The wallet remained lodged behind a locker, perfectly preserved in Antarctica's perpetually freezing temperatures. In 2014, over 45 years later, workers demolishing a building at McMurdo Station came across the weathered leather wallet wedged in a crevice. Inside, the wallet contained remnants of Grisham's life and service, his Navy ID card, a beer ration punch card, receipts for money sent to his wife, and more. Despite this trove of information, locating the 91-year-old Grisham in the modern day took serious detective work. Stephen Dio, an Air Force veteran, embarked on a 6-year mission to track down the original owner. After tireless searching, Dio finally got in touch with Grisham in 2020. Upon receiving his long-lost wallet, Grisham was amazed that such an insignificant item had survived. Of the items returned, Grisham was especially astounded to find the recipe for homemade kala that he had carried during his time on the ice. Antarctica, often regarded as a land of mysteries and secrets, offers some of the most severe conditions and breathtaking landscapes on Earth. It is remarkable to consider that there exists a significant expanse of land on our planet that remains incompletely explored. As the coldest region on Earth, Antarctica harbors approximately 90% of the world's ice. Its status as the most isolated location on the planet contributes to its largely unexplored nature, promising many more exciting discoveries in the future.